Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, Gil.
Hello.
I said, hello. You're here right off the bat.
I am.
Look
You
at
don't
you
have
in
to
the
do.
look at
You
you
don't
in
have to
the
entertain anybody for 10 minutes.
wa-diddly-doo.
You know what's funny is I have a box of cologne here. Let's
I got a
go
box
through
of
it.
cologne. Funny you should say that. I got one of those. I haven't done one of those in a while. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I found out? I'm missing one.
You're
Turns
missing.
out there is
You're missing a
one.
bottle.
There is one scent that I did own and I didn't keep it for some, and I'm wondering, like, how did I not keep this thing? I don't think it was the best scent, admittedly, and my memory is that it was Hugo Boss, and
Right.
it was a little sphere, like a BB-8 kind of shaped
Okay. All right. All
little
right.
bottle. I had this, and I don't have it, so I'm
Super
missing
handy.
one.
Super handy. Those droids, eh? I.
I would like a BB-8. I mean, that's
I'm like.
probably the best thing about the series, about the new trilogy. It's
Yeah,
BB-8.
I agree. I. I. I've been like almost done Rebels. So I've
Oh,
like
are you? Yeah.
watched. I watched all of Clone Wars. I watched the first three
Wow.
seasons of Rebels. So I'm like on the third season, a fourth season of Rebels,
Yeah.
and like the main thing that we keep forgetting about Star Wars is that none of this shit works if the droids aren't there to help them. You know,
Right. I know.
all the time they're like the
Yeah.
lifesavers of the freaking stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like Chomper, the one in Rebels, he like
Yeah.
saves the day every episode.
Yeah.
It's like the Chomper show.
Yeah. Chomper is amazing. I haven't finished Rebels, so don't give me any spoilers.
Well,
Please.
at the very end, there's
Please. Please.
I'm not finished it, so I can't really
Oh,
tell
you're
you
not
the end.
finished?
But
Okay. Okay.
no,
So
no.
don't tell me that. Yeah, Chomper is really, really cool. I mean, I like the cast overall in that series. It's probably worthwhile to finish it. So I'll give it a go. I'm
Yeah,
trying
it's
to.
very good. It's very good. It's definitely more cartoony than Clone Wars.
Oh,
Clone Wars was a little more had more of a serious style, especially near the end. That last season is
mm.
it's like the last like 3 or 4 episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know how like the
Oh
animation
yeah.
style kind of took a step up
Yeah.
and it looked way more grown up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like that last fight when Aang is fighting the Fire Lord,
Yeah.
they almost turn into like different looking characters altogether.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it looks like you're watching like Dragon Ball Z or like some kind of like grown up like animation. It's like you're watching Ninja Scroll
How
or
much do you
something
love,
crazy.
absolutely love, the character arcs of Avatar: The Last Airbender?
It's great.
Like,
It's really, really good.
wow. It's just so good.
I feel
What?
like I watched it almost too separate from itself though.
Oh,
Like,
really?
you know, I would watch an episode and then a couple weeks later we'd watch it because I watched it with my kids, right?
Yes.
And when we got near the end, when we got to the last season, we watched the last season like boom, 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 kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
one every day or whatever, or two
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like those first 2 or 3 seasons, I guess 3 seasons altogether, right? Those first 2 seasons were like so few and far between. I started forgetting. Like I'm like, am I supposed to know this character? Like so, I don't know if I got the full experience. Like I'd have to really just rewatch it and binge it, but we'll
Yeah.
see. I really like it though. It's a really good show. Like, and we're watching Legend of Korra right now, and Legend of Korra is good too. I really like that one
I
too.
have not seen that series. I bought the soundtrack, but I've never seen the
It's on
series.
Netflix, so it's available to you. It's right
Well,
there.
I'm doing. I did the Dragon Prince, which I think is by the same
Same people, yeah.
folks, and I am so into that show. It's crazy.
Yeah, I like that show too. It's good.
I've got too many shows on the go right now.
Yeah.
Still rocking, loving Lucifer. Oh my gosh, it's
you like that show? Eh?
I do. Yeah, I fell for it. Yeah, Ari Zoo recommendation. Yeah, it's wicked. Actually, thinking about Ari Zoo, like I'm really close to renting that Black Widow. I'm getting the, I feel like I'm holding onto my seat. Like, oh, I can't wait any longer. I've got to pay the $20 or whatever it is.
It's good. I enjoyed it.
It's good, eh? I want to see
it.
I really want to see it, and yeah, it's interesting, this whole lawsuit thing.
Thing.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It makes sense why she's upset.
Well, yeah, it's money.
From what I read, she reached out to them several times during the pandemic saying, hey, if you were thinking about releasing this on streaming services, we need to renegotiate my contract.
Right.
And they completely ghosted her and this just did it. So
Right,
I think she's
yeah.
upset because of that too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's just going to be litigious drama and whatever. That's, hey, you know what? That's none of those people involved are hurting in any way.
right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
they're doing just fine.
So we were technically waiting, just talking to each other here to fill up the time until 10 o'clock. It's after 10 o'clock. So I guess we can start the show now.
Let's start it. Let's do this.
We were waiting
how
for
ugly is your mug?
our Zoom
Your
call
mug,
to fill up.
Hey, your mug isn't really ugly right now.
No, it's actually gorge.
You've got, well, no, I'm talking
my
about
face.
You've got trimmed beard. You've got upturn. Yes, a little upturn.
I took well, first off, I took a shower.
You took a shower.
I don't normally do before Ugly Mugs, but I felt really gross. I was like, "There's no way. I wanna at least take a shower." And I just got a haircut like 2 days ago, so that's why I look all professionally coiffed.
Wow, look at you!
Because
You're all polished.
Professionally coiffed. Yeah, I am. I'm a shiny new bead.
Polished mugs.
Yeah, I'm like a nice shiny sphere. But so yeah, we were waiting for patrons to join the Zoom call. No one has joined yet, which means that this is a failure.
It might be.
It might be a failure.
It
doesn't really matter. We were going to do this show regardless of anybody be joining on. So let's get on with it. So episode 1 of the new season aired this week on Wednesday. We covered the prologue with Yasna, which was amazeballs. What a awesome little chapter. So if we want to quickly go through what happened, if you have any second thoughts, it was pretty much the night of Gavilar's death, but it was from Yasna's point of view.
Right.
She was meeting an assassin who she had hired to potentially kill her sister-in-law.
Right.
But decided to just hire her to watch the sister-in-law instead. Yasna has a run-in and goes to Shadesmar again. So this maybe not the first time she's gone, which was hilarious and awesome. And then we meet her. It's the first time we see a visage of her spren. We find out later on. This is no spoilers for you because we've already recorded.
Because we've already covered it.
But this is the first time we meet Ink, which is her spren. And he looked really cool. And then
that was a surprise to me about the spren with her. That was a bit of a surprise. It's cool.
Neat. It's really cool.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome. But then she has a run-in with the man who ends up killing Yim later on in the interludes. We've already recorded the interludes. So she sees the guy with the crescent moon scar on his cheek, dressed in black and silver. And then at the very end, she retraces Zeth's steps down the hallway, sees all the bloody corpses, and then her father's dead. So it's an awesome prologue. I just love the fact that we're returning to the scene of the crime again. You know what I mean?
Well, really awesome. It's neat that, and I'm not so sure that he's done with that either. In terms of showing, we're
going to go back again.
Well, it seems probable. I mean, we've had two experiences so far with it.
Right.
I don't think, have we had Dalinar's perspective of that night?
Nope.
Like where he's inebriated and.
Nope.
No. So so that would be it would be nice that would continue throughout the series. I don't know if that does, but in Oath, is it Oath? It's Oathbringer, isn't it? The third
Oathbringer, yeah. Oathbringer. The bringer of oaths.
The bringer of
the bringer of oaths.
Of oaths.
Oathbringer.
I
like the way it sounds. Oathbringer. A toque bringer.
I did a toque.
That's the Canadian version of the Stormlight Archive is toque bringer.
I don't know what I'm gonna do in this basement of mine going into the winter months recording episodes for Words of Radiance, because if it's this cold in the summer,
is it really that cold in your basement?
Dude, I have no joke. I don't think I can lift my legs up this high, but I have like muckaluk-tuck-luck-lucks on. Like I've got crazy cold socks on, like these, like
Show us.
I don't think I can
slide back and show us.
I don't
Show
think
us
I
your
can
socks.
do. Okay, I'll try.
Holy jeez.
Like I'm not kidding. Like I am like.
Thank God there's no smell-o-vision in Zoom.
They smell great.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
I'm a body shop guy.
So yeah, so that was an awesome episode. We
Ooh.
Too much spit.
Mm.
Hey, Papino. Hello.
Papino, no.
Papino, no. How's it going? So yeah, this week we used Connor again, one of our favorite artists here at the Storm Pod, Connor J. Chamberlain. He is amazing. We've used him several times over the course of the last year for Way of Kings. He the first time I asked him whether or not we could use his art, I kind of explained what we were doing, and he was so into it that one, he asked for the link for the show so he could listen on with us, and two, he said, here's a link to all my art, use any of it anytime, you don't have to continue asking, just tag me and credit me, but you can always use anything I do. And I'm just like, this guy, man, like, is just awesome.
That's amazing. That's so cool of him. That's so awesome.
Yeah, he's very, very good guy, very good artist. I just love his style. But yeah, he's not a patron, so he won't be hearing this. But if he ever does become a patron and goes back into the back catalog and listens to this episode, I just want to say thank you very much, Connor. We love you so much. Yeah.
So what? So this week's depiction. What's your highlight of this piece?
Of the art?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the sky in the background. It's my favorite part of the any of the Shadesmar scenes always have that like that moon in the back with the dark sky.
Is this like the this is the shot with that's got the light blue plants, like the shrubs growing on the ground?
Yeah, right.
And it's got like the swirling.
All these clouds are like kind of bringing all your attention to that back moon.
Yeah.
I really like it. I think it's just a gorgeous piece.
Yeah.
And like, there's very few really nice Yasna in Shadesmar pieces, but as soon as I saw that Connor had one, I was like, we're picking Connor's. Like, Connor's is the best.
This is amazing. Yeah,
it's really great.
Gotta say, I really miss Yasna in this series.
I know you do, buddy.
I don't know. I don't know how I'll ever
I know you feel it in your heart. But you know, it's funny because we just recorded that episode where Shalon actually goes through the trunk. She found the trunk. She's with Tvlakov in the wagon, and she opens up the trunk. So go ahead.
I really like that Yasna is alive from her work.
Right.
Like that's what resonates and lives on. I really like that she's not. But also at the same time, I like it, but it's also sad that someone's existence is almost like reduced down to some belongings.
Right.
Yeah, there's nice mask, sir. No. I'm seeing a wonderful mask.
Yeah, he's great.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I like this too. I like this whole idea that we've talked about it with Gavilar, how Gavilar dies at the very beginning of the first book, and then I think I've used the saying that the specter of him,
Gavilar's.
He kind of exists throughout this whole novel,
right?
Everyone always talks about him. He's such an important figure in everyone's lives, and I feel like Yasna is like her dad in this, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Like, she's become a specter as well, you know.
So she lives on through her work, like the books and the trunk and all that stuff. But she also lives on through, like we saw it in the episode that we just covered, where Shalon literally takes on Yasna's mannerisms to get what she wants, right? So
Yasna takes on,
or Shalon takes on Yasna's mannerisms.
Oh yes, absolutely. I love that. That was one of my favorite moments.
Turning the slave wagon into a carriage.
Yes,
kind of thing.
Turning the slave wagon into a carriage. Like and again, that was going sort of corroborating the perspectives themes that are going on in this book, which I think is amazing.
sure.
And just the fact that she learned from Yasna, and it's a survival tactic.
For sure.
Like speaking to someone in a certain manner and demanding that you be treated this way, exerting your, I guess in D&D terms, it would be, a hell of a persuasion check.
Yeah, it really is.
In addition to some great RPG.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted us to tackle before we open up the floor to all the guests, which is only one guest so far, so we might as well just let him in on this conversation sooner than later. Is
one is good.
Why don't we actually, Jack? Why don't you let's Papino, you can unmute yourself if you want and join the convo. What's up, dude?
You are muted.
You are live on Ugly Mugs.
Well, what a pleasure. I feel like my mug isn't ugly enough.
I do like your mug, but it could be a little uglier.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, is this Chip? Who is this guy?
It's the version of Chip.
It's Chap.
It's Chip when he's really cold. It's Chap.
Yeah. It's the off-brand.
The off-brand Chap.
Yes, the off-brand Chap. Hey, Chap.
Out on the streets of New York.
There you go.
Nice.
Born on the streets of New York. Yeah. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about was in the episode this week, we mentioned that I had heard somewhere that oh, so cute. She wants to be on the show.
She's on the show.
Yay, Sally, that's it.
Oh,
sorry,
no, that's awesome.
There's a baby.
Oh, she's so cute.
Oh, beautiful.
Seriously, best show we've ever done.
Oh,
right
that's the best. That's the best. Doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get better.
Yeah, so that's what Jack, remember this. Every time we do a show now, we need a cute baby and a hot wife just to come into the frame. Just anytime we're feeling a lull in the show, we just bring the baby in. Bring the baby in. But yeah, so we talked a little bit about the cover in the first episode. And I had mentioned that I had heard or read somewhere that the inside cover, the Shalon piece that I showed you, where she's sitting on the precipice drawing and she's looking out over the shattered plains. Yes. That was supposed to be the cover for some reason. Right. And I was misinformed. We actually had a friend on Discord named DL Vorap who sent us an actual article explaining actually what happened with those covers. So I wanted to just kind of quickly talk about it here.
What's the story then?
The scoop is that Michael Whelan, the artist, always likes to read the novels before he does the art. Okay. So normally the author will write the book and have a mostly done copy, send it to Michael Whelan. He'll read the book and then he will he'll be
and you're talking about this one, right?
I'm talking about this one, but I'm mainly talking about the one that I showed you last week on the episode where Shalon is drawing or whatever. Right. So what ended up happening in this part, which is what this article said, was that he didn't get a chance to read it. He needed to do the art first before reading the full before reading the full novel. And so Brandon gave him a description of what the book was going to be about, just a brief kind of summary of some of the stuff. And from that, he extrapolated this dual Kaladin and this looming threat that we know Taravangian is going to be sending Zeth at some point to Dalinar from the last book. Yep. And so he wanted Cal on the cover and then Zeth on the back cover, right? Yep. And then after he read the book, he got the manuscript a little later before the book was published. And once he read it, he realized this is Shalon's book. And Brandon had said that too. This is Shalon's book because all the flashback scenes are all Shalon. So we're learning more about her backstory and her character, right? So he's like, so Shalon should have been on the cover. So he started doing artwork for Shalon, and then reached out to Tor.com and said, I actually have another piece for the book, but because we already started using the other one with Kaladin and Zeth on the cover, I thought maybe this could be like an end page. So at the very end of the book, you would open up the hardcover and it would be there. Initially, they
And is
ultimately
that
decided to put it on the front cover. So you open the book, and on the inside front cover, that's where that Shalon piece.
do you have yours? Like
I don't
because-
have it right now.
'cause
Why, you
on
want
the-
to take a
on-
look at it again?
I
Okay,
don't
give me 1 second. I'll actually get up and we have
well don't
person on the thing.
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we can do it later
Hey, Jasper.
because we're gonna record. Jasper Divine Dog is with us. All right.
Yes. So okay, so the point of it is that when he did this piece of Shalon,
Yes.
they couldn't use it as the cover because
Right.
the way the picture is that if you're looking at it, Shalon's on this side,
Right.
and
I
then
remember.
the rest
Yep.
of the landscape is this way,
Right.
and that doesn't work for a book because the book would have to be the reverse, right?
Right.
And the way that the article said was that there was no piece at the top, no open space at the top of the piece that could have the title.
Lettering and yes, of course.
Right.
Of course.
So they decided just to keep it on an inside cover piece instead of putting it
For
on
the
cover.
hardcover.
So,
Yeah.
Right. So it's just a long
which I do not have. I've got my my soft covers, my
right.
paperback versions. Yeah, that's cool. It's neat how those decisions get made. I still think that there's a rippling effect in this new series. How could there not be? Every time I look at this art, that's all that I see and feel.
I would say that there is definitely something to that because we've seen now in the last 2 books that
I mean,
that Gavilar's death has created a ripple in all of Roshar.
Maybe
So
that's it. Maybe it's all Gavilar. It's all emanating from that one event.
I think also we have to be careful to not just ascribe stuff that we think to it too, right? Because we could come up with any like theme or idea, and we could find evidence in the text to kind of prove it as well, right? But I think that the one thing that we stumbled upon in this book so far, anyways, that I would say really is evident. You just mentioned it earlier. Is this idea of perspective?
Yes.
You know,
yeah, the different
this whole
perspectives
risen interlude with her seeing the island far off. It's not a monster. She gets closer.
Right.
Now it's a monster. She's on it.
But then on it, it's no longer. It's a landscape.
Right.
Honestly, that is one of my most favorite bits of world building. I have to admit. I mean, wow, that's just so fun.
And then she sees like there's a parting of the trees, and she can see another Reshi island far off in the distance.
Yeah.
And she can't tell it's a monster either. It's just a small island.
It's in the distance. It looks lumbering, kind of slow. It just looks like
just a
exactly.
regular
it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I think that we're definitely gonna have to keep that in our brains as we keep covering this book. This idea of perspective, I think, is definitely going to play and heavily into this. So, but do we want to just open it up to the floor and see what?
Yeah, sure. Let's
unmute.
Let's unmute.
Yeah, let's unmucus Jasper here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, perfect. Hello,
hey, Jasper. How's it going?
Good, thank you.
Good. Where are you? Where are you hailing from?
I'm in England,
Nice.
the south of England.
In the south of England. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome.
I have not been. I have not been there.
We're international, baby.
It's sometimes nice. It's nice
It's
sometimes. It's raining at the moment.
Well, that's interesting. In terms of climate change, I was reading a National Geographic article years ago. It was saying that Southern Ontario, where both Sean and I are basically from, that the
Papineau
weather
as well.
and Papineau as well, that the weather here will become very England-esque in terms of increased rain. And I think that both of the guys can attest to that we are seeing an increase in storms, rain, heavy. So that's what's happening to Ontario.
Also, we're thinking about having a queen as well. So that's really weird.
Oh yeah. Would recommend.
Technically, your queen's our queen. So
that's right.
We are still loyal subjects, my friend.
We are still a constitutional monarchy. That's right.
Yeah. You didn't betray us, like
Actually, what's so funny? I was having a conversation about that the other day. Is that what if England had like
held on to all its properties.
Yeah, like had managed to deal with the 13 colonies that were starting in America. What if they had just said, you know what? Okay, representation for population. Yeah, you're gonna have an equal say back here on the island. No problem. We'll work it out. Blah blah blah. Like, what would the world have looked like then? If
Yeah.
Are you being a Aristotelian, Jack? Are you looking back at history in different eyes, or?
Well, I think about these sort of things all the time, like these moments that end up becoming these huge things that change so much in the world, and then you go like, what would have happened if it was different? You know, like it just like what would the world be like?
I think a lot about. I just listened to a podcast on the War of 1812, and I think a lot about that, about how, you know, if it wasn't for at the time, we weren't really Canadians yet. We were Upper and Lower Canada, so we're still technically all British. But if we hadn't made an alliance with the Aboriginal First Nations people in the Canadian areas and in the American areas to fight the Americans, we would all be American. You know, if it wasn't for their helping us, it would be all America right now in North America, or not Mexico, but Canada and the United States would be all America. And then what did we do? Like we always fucking do. We friggin' betrayed them after the war. We're like, help us, and then we'll give you land and you can have your own nation. And then we won the war and then screwed them over again, man.
Honor the treaties, man. That's the last I'll say. That's a very contentious thing to say.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
honor the treaties. Like,
it's horrible.
Anyway,
this is a different show now.
That's a different show.
Don't pull us Sadius.
Don't pull us
Sadius. Yeah, that's it. Sadius. That's it exactly. Well, Jasper, that's really cool. Glad you could make it on. That's awesome.
Honestly, the podcast is so good. Honestly.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much.
It is the closest thing I found to reading the books again for the first time, which is very good.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
This is what we're hoping. We're hoping that when you think about doing a reread, you think about doing that reread with us, or just listen to us, because it's like rereading the book. You know,
right?
I'll be honest. I railed against the idea of reading too much of the text in our episodes, and Jack was really adamant about really reading.
Taking it slow.
A lot of the chapter, taking it slow and really reading some of the parts in the chapter. Well, I was more of the sense like, let's get to the good stuff and have discussions about the good stuff. Sure. And I think between the two of us, we found a really healthy medium there where, I thought about this the other day, and I haven't even had a chance to talk to Jack about it. But when we record, Jack, it's like you're doing a reread. You've already read it once on your own.
Yes.
And then recording the episode is your second read, because we're literally reading the text as we go and record.
Well, I see. I couldn't help. I think in the earlier stage of the pod, when we were starting this, I was making more notes and commenting on how I felt about things and themes and whatever. But then I realized that, you know what? Like, the text is where it's at. Like, I really sort of got more into like rereading the text, and then,
underlining and making actual notes in your book, and
just like my books are a complete mess. Like when I've completely destroyed these paperbacks. They are annihilated. They are written over. I've got burbles and scratches on every single page. So, but I find that there's just you have to go slow with this here. At least I found. Because there's just so much there. There's so much imagery and hidden sort of meanings and double entendres and not to mention that he's hiding so much. Like, I can't help but feel there has got to be some big reveal with this with Dalinar's old magic, this forgetting his wife and the children. I think there's a big thing there. The Navani
of course
story.
There is. They've literally been teasing it for a book and some.
I know, but
you know what I mean?
I don't really know. Well, okay, Dave.
You're right, Jasper. It would really suck if there was nothing to it.
Well, they've hinted. Okay, so they've dropped the old magic. They dropped the mystery, but the one thing that they haven't dropped, that it's probably just me reading into it, is his children, or maybe who Navani, has children with, like in you
Right.
know.
That's a
No,
whole
that's
other subject.
that,
Yeah.
that like
This
that's
is
a
not
Jack.
this live event Ugly Mugs thing is not a theory crafting event. Joel's not even
Is
here
that one
for
of
it,
my
so you can't.
Joel's
You're
not
not
here?
allowed to talk theories about Joel.
My
That is
crazy
true.
my crazy theories.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see if it's
Do either Papino or Jesper have any questions for us while we're still on?
Gosh, I should have thought of something before I came on.
spur of the moment.
I can go if you want to think about it, Jasper.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, just in the spirit of young ones and parenting and children, what's something, because you guys have both said you're both parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's like a fond like nerd memory with your kids, or like what's like either like a movie or something you guys really bonded over, and like it's something you kind of treasure, a board game or a D&D or something, or
Yeah. Go ahead, Jack. You go first.
Yeah. Okay. When my son was really young, there was a showing in Ottawa. We were living in Ottawa, and my son was probably about 3 years old, and they put the Neverending Story back in theaters. And it was a limited sort of thing at a Silver City cinema or something like that, or a Cineplex Odeon or something. And I was really excited, and he'd already seen the movie at home, and I had the soundtrack and everything. So he was already familiar with it. But we go to the theater, we watch it on the big screen, and he was just up and dancing, like during the theme song, like as a little boy in the theater, and running around and just grabbing all the attention from everybody in the theater. Yeah, okay, this is gonna be copyrighted. You can't play it.
Dude, no one's gonna see this. No one's gonna sue us.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's my favorite moment. What was taking my son to see that, and
that's awesome.
And geeking out over that story together. He still loves it to this day. It's one of his favorite stories.
That's great. It's an awesome story. I think when the horse dies is one of the saddest moments ever.
Oh, yeah.
Nora and I watched it a few years ago. I didn't realize how quickly the movie happens. I think my memory of the movie when I was a kid was that, he meets Atreyu gets picked as the hero. Then he's got this long period of adventuring.
Yeah.
And then the horse dies. But like literally the horse dies like the next scene. He's like, go on, Atreyu, save the day. And he's like, the horse now. Like
I have been wanting
almost immediately.
I have been wanting and hoping and praying for Peter Jackson to secure the rights to redo the Neverending Story. And I don't think it's going to happen, but if there was a person alive today who could do it justice, I suppose James Cameron could probably do it justice as well. Just to reimagine it and just make it into something just larger than life again, and expand on the fantastical.
We've made a couple of comparisons from the Neverending Story to
the
Stormlight in the past episodes. There are some links there. It's hard not to have a link to the Neverending Story. It's such a formidable movie in a lot of people's youths that it's going to inform a lot of.
I don't have a copy of the Way of Kings with me, but that was what was so amazing about reading a book that is titled like in the book is the book you're reading.
Right. And this Words of Radiance is the same. Even though Shallan lost the book.
It draws you in. So I would be very surprised if Brandon Mr. Sanderson did not.
There's the High Storms is very, very reminiscent of the Nothing. The Nothing is this gigantic black nebulous storm that comes in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, although I think in this it's not so it's not just like a delete key on a keyboard where it's
right.
Like the Nothing is like abandon of all hope. It's just deleting everything, all of your hopes and dreams into a vacuum. I don't know
Amaram is what you're saying. The Nothing is pretty much Amaram.
Amaram's. Oh wow, jeez.
It's actually, you know what? Let's be honest.
You keep bringing up these really contentious.
The Nothing is your theory on Amaram, not Amaram himself.
My theory for Amaram. My theory was good. That was a good theory.
It was a good theory.
And in terms of creating more drama, that someone had saved Kaladin. It wasn't. He was branded. He was enslaved. Yes. But he was being protected because of his power, because of his ability. That is
I like it too. There's only one piece of it that falls apart is the making him a slave part. You know what I mean?
Well, especially putting him in the
If
most
you're trying
dangerous.
to protect someone because they're special, you don't put them in the worst possible scenario to protect them.
Okay,
That's the only part of it that I.
That is true. I guess I suppose rather that that could have been an unfortunate happenstance
Consequence or something, right?
Yeah.
It would have been a good
like
mislead.
Yeah.
Like leading your way down, and then you're thinking the whole time, like,
right.
And finally would have been.
And maybe he was branded and all that stuff, and he was supposed to be transported to somewhere special, and that caravan got attacked, and then he truly became a slave. And yeah, so there are ways around your theory to have made it plausible, but.
So Never Ending Story is my favorite. Playing with Star Wars figures, with my son as a kid. That's a big thing
Music
for me
too, right? For you and
well,
Parker,
that's not fantasy or geeky.
No, but it's
necessarily.
Music's not geeky. Come on.
No, I mean it's not geeky, is it?
Yes, it is.
Music is geeky.
If you're a super fan about it, yeah.
Yeah, anything can be if you're.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose.
You
Okay.
just have to be really into it and know things that most people don't about it, I guess.
Well, I've shown my son this band from England that was short-lived, and they're called Late of the Pier, and there were these young lads putting together this amazing rock and roll, and he really got into that. He's been into like so much music. It's I can't even keep up with him now. So he's just taken off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, he's at that age now that he's discovering his own things, right? So.
Oh yeah, he's crazy. Like he's on his own now with that. But I just thought of something that I want to geek out with him over something, and that's, I don't know if you guys have seen a program called Gormenghast.
Nope.
But it's really, really good if you're interested in fantasy and kind of.
You'll have to drop the link in the Discord.
Yeah. Okay. So Sean, what about you? What's your fantasy?
I mean, I've had several awesome moments with my kids. An example of that is maybe when we play the game of life. We play the junior game of life a lot, mainly because my oldest daughter wins all the time, so she just wants to play that game all the time.
Oh, okay.
But there's always a card that gets pulled every time we play, and it says, "Describe me your favorite." It always ends up being, so the way the game works is, if it's my turn and I draw this card says, ask the other players to describe their best birthday party idea, and then the person who draws the card, so me, has to choose between all the examples, and then whoever I choose gets a star, which is the point of the game, is collecting stars. So every time I've pulled that card like 3 times, and every single time I pull it, I'm like, hey girls, you each have to come up with an idea for what your ideal birthday party would be, and then let me know. And you know what they say?
What?
I want my cake to have dragons and dice and D&D on it. The 4-year-old goes, D&D for sure has to be on there, and Daddy likes Batman, so Batman's on the cake. And so they're always just,
it's all your favorite.
It's all my favorite stuff.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah,
that's so cute.
It's really cute.
Playing
That's great. Most recently, I played with Nora, my oldest. I was off for a week with her, and we actually made a character together where she filled out the actual stuff in a D&D character, and she rolled for her stats, and she rolled like her dad. She killed it. She rolled an awesome
really
character.
Powerful character.
Yeah, well, not super powerful, but like a really acceptable character.
Sure.
An 18, a 17, a couple of 14s.
Competent.
But and then she played it amazing. She didn't just say, I want to cast the spell. She's like, the spell looks like this when I cast it. There's a shimmering of green light, and I was so proud. Like
that's great.
It got me all choked up.
Yeah.
But like, that said, they both have their own personalities, and they both like their own things too, right? So and I end up liking those things that they like because I'm trying to connect to them and stuff, right? So I watched way more My Little Pony than I care to say, but at the end, I'm like,
I have not, brony. I have not had enough.
I'm not a brony, but I'm pretty close.
I'm brony. Have you seen the My Little Pony D&D?
Yes, we watched it many times.
Dolls or whatever.
Yeah,
is it a show or is
the dolls we've seen? Well, they play D&D in the show.
Wow, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's why the My Little Pony D&D characters came out, like the little miniatures or whatever. So
Very cool.
But yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So it would be playing D&D with Nora, but I've had several of those little moments. You know, they want to watch the things I want to watch. They want to listen to the music I want to listen to. So it just comes with parenting. I think, you know, your kids are going to want, you know, they're going to want what you want. So just wait, dude, until when she starts communicating, she's going to be like, Daddy, I don't like Game of Thrones because the guys die. Like she's gonna be watching. Eddard Stark should live and all that stuff, right?
I can't handle Game of Thrones right now. I can't handle it.
So Jasper, do you have any?
A little bit bitter still.
Well, not many interesting ones, I suppose. What are each of your favorite books outside of Stormlight? Or favorite books in general?
For me, it's 1984.
Okay, fair enough.
I know that's a very maybe safe answer because most people read in high school, but it left such an impression on me that I still think about it to this day.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, well, it couldn't be more relevant today than ever, actually. And that's just sort of shows the prescience of the material and of the author, just knowing where things were going. I think he was a big fan of Alvin Toffler, the Future Shock books, and again, the sort of prognostication books that he did in the 60s. So yeah, George Orwell, 1984 for me, favorite book. However, if I was to pick like fantasy, well, now it's hard not to pick this series. It's really difficult. I mean, I've read Dune. Dune was really neat. A friend of mine got me into it in high school, and that book, I found that I was sort of connecting a few things. We haven't talked a lot about Dune and Stormlight Archives, but
there's huge connections there.
Yeah, like I, in terms of the world building, especially, and
like this bleak environment.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there that not necessarily
chasm fiends and the
worms,
I was gonna say
there is a lot. We should actually do. You know what? That we need to do that. We've done a. If we've done a Captain, was it Hook or Peter Pan?
Peter Pan episode.
Where's my Syl? She gone?
Yeah, where's Syl?
Oh, there she is.
Have you been not honorable, Jack?
Yeah,
she's back. So yeah, I mean Dune. You know, I was reading so many weird things. In 1984 for sure. I was a big Stephen King fan as a younger reader, and so I think that The Shining still terrifies me to this day. That as a book experience, that was really unnerving. And I think maybe lastly I would pick maybe Neuromancer.
I like how the question was, what's your favorite
what's your favorite book? I can't pick.
I mean, you can't pick. Yeah.
I can't. I mean, it's just I don't know how to do it. Like I find it hard to pick just one. It's like when Ari Zhu asked something. What she asked? One of the questions earlier in the UGGLY MUGGS, and I did it again. I just said, oh yeah, this is my favorite. Oh, and all these other ones. Yeah.
I can't pick my favorite Stormlight book, let alone my favorite book.
Yeah.
Well, that's
one of the Stormlight books.
See, and that makes the most sense to me, Jasper, because when I was asking Sean, I was asking Joel and these other guys in the Patreon group what their favorite books were, and there were all kinds of different answers. Like, you know, well, it's Way of Kings for sure. It's Words of Radiance, and that was really confusing to me because after reading Way of Kings, I thought, how could there be sequels to this book that are better than this?
Yeah.
And now that I'm, you know, finally we're getting into Words of Radiance, now I get it. And
they're just all amazing.
They're all amazing. So and that for me is blowing my mind because I think most of my reading has been, you know, individual books. I haven't really been a series reader until Sean invited me into this experience. So Sean is really my introduction into reading a series of fantasy novels. Like my father-in-law, he was reading, I think, Terry Goodkind, and I would see all these series on his shelves, and I would wonder, well, like, what's the experience like of reading all of this material? Like, it can't just be, you know, great book after great book. and I'm very, very happy to be wrong.
There are definitely, I think, books that are not as good as others in a series, especially if you do a long series like The Wheel of Time. There are certain books that are just not as good as other books, right? Like, I love my favorite, I would have to say, my answer to that is if I had to pick one book outside of Stormlight Archive that is my favorite book, it has to be Lord of Chaos from Wheel of Time. And I want to pick, drawing over the 3 from the Gunslinger series, I want to pick all these other, I want to pick the Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. I want to pick all these other ones, but
so good.
I have to pick Lord of Chaos because I had such an amazing time reading it. I remember openly weeping at the end of it. And I had thought in that moment that if he never wrote another book, if he just, had died early, or if he had just never wrote another book for whatever reason, it would have been okay, because that Lord of Chaos, that 6th book, is just so amazing that even though things would have been left unsaid and undone, and the last battle hadn't happened and all this stuff, it was such an amazing book that it wouldn't have mattered.
If you cried at the end of it, I really want to read it. Is that the first book in that? Is that the first book in that?
Book 6. It's book 6.
That's book 6
of 14.
Yeah, of 14.
Whoa! Are you kidding me right now?
No,
it's a big series. I'm on book.
There's a reason why we're not doing a Wheel of Time podcast.
Yeah, it would take.
You're kidding.
A long time.
Yeah,
and that
it take 14 years, dude. It would take 14 years to cover the whole series.
I just got goosebumps from just acknowledging that an author wrote 14 books. Are you kidding me right now? That's crazy.
And Brandon Sanderson wrote the last 3.
I did hear about that.
Yeah.
And that's very exciting.
It's very cool.
And
we will never be covering that.
Why not?
If two of our friends want to cover that series underneath the umbrella that is Heroes of, and want to do Heroes of Presents the Wheel of Time, or like the Wheel Pod or whatever, that they can jump aboard and we will help them start it up. But there's no way, with the amount of work that we have to do with Stormlight Archive, that we can hammer in another 14-book series. There's no way, dude.
Well, we'll see. How about we pin that one? Okay, what about? Okay, I know that you've read a lot, very, very, to great length, all of these Star Wars novels, Sean.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick, I mean,
a Star Wars novel?
Not that maybe in the Star Wars universe would be the best representation of writing, let's say. But if you were to pick, I know that you've read a lot of them. So if you had to pick one of those or two, what would you pick there as maybe your favorite?
I'll preface this with saying that I'm still crushed and saddened that the Legends or extended universe Star Wars books are out of canon. That's when it started getting lost on me from Disney for Star Wars, was that the decision to the need to have to bring Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill back as their characters for a new trilogy, and then having to decanonize the other books to make it make sense, was a really bad decision.
And then making something so much worse.
Yeah, exactly.
I was fine with it until they completely screwed up the trilogy as well.
Right. So, for me, some of my favorite reading experiences are in those, I don't know, 50 to 60 novels that I read from Star Wars. I just absolutely love it. But if I had to pick anything that maybe were above the rest, I can't remember exactly what the book is. There's a novel in the New Jedi Order series when Jason and Jaina Solo, Han and Leia's kids, are having to leave behind their younger brother Anakin Solo, and he has to hold his position to allow the rest of the Jedi to escape. So he sacrifices himself to stop the oncoming horde from getting to them. And there's this moment in it, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. He becomes like, there's a moment where one of the Jedi say he's the most powerful Jedi that ever existed in this one moment. He's just the living force. So that moment's probably my favorite moment in any Star Wars book. Yeah, but I would have to say best Star Wars book is probably one of the 3 Darth Bane novels. Those were just really, really well written. Sorry, Darth I got Bane. A plane flying overhead here, so.
That's all right. Oh, that's cool. I haven't read those, so I started reading
Amazing.
the early material and with Zahn and whatnot, courtship, and
Those are all really good too. But yeah. So I really have to like just to get back to it to wrap that point up. I really have to say Lord of Chaos, even though there's a little part of myself that really wants to say Drawing of the Three from the Gunslinger series by Stephen King. I absolutely love the Gunslinger series. It's one of my favorite things of all time, and that book Drawing of the Three is phenomenal. It is. If you've never read it, it's amazing.
Sorry, go ahead, Jasper.
Does Lord of Chaos sit above Stormlight for you?
I don't know. I see. There's a caveat in your question here.
Yeah.
Your question was to pick one outside of Stormlight, and now
yeah. Which is why I'm now. I'm
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
going back on it a bit, I guess.
I would say that as much as I love Lord of Chaos and have such really fond memories of Lord of Chaos, it's not better than the best Stormlight book. It's not better than Way of Kings. It's not better than Words of Radiance. It's not better than Northbringer. It's amazing. It's really good, but just I don't know. There's something about these Stormlight books that just they hit me exactly where I want to be hit. You know, like they give me the right feelings.
Except for the beginning of Words of Radiance, because there's something in there that's
just because it was bad.
What do you mean? I don't know what you're
good.
talking about. What are you talking about?
Well, he's already covered it.
About?
I think, I know.
Just for the
what am I talking about? I don't know.
For the record, we just recorded the first 2 chapters of part 2.
Yeah.
So Jack has just experienced Adeline's first or second in-book duel where he beats the guy. He just smashes the guy over the head with the sword.
It's so good. I could live in that moment forever.
Yeah, we just
what
recorded
a great,
it. You know, the moment I could live in
chapter.
forever is the moments right before the fight when Renard and Adeline are hanging out and they're talking, and he's like, "Do you still have Mom's necklace? Did you eat this? Did you like?" That connection between these 2 brothers is one of my favorite things.
But also just prior to that, him speaking with the sword. Like
when he says he can't name it because it has a name already and it's not up to him to name it. Yeah, it's so great.
Oh, it's so.
I love Adeline.
Oh yeah.
He's one of my favorites too.
I like the fact that Jasper referred to him just now, pronounced Adeline.
Yes.
And I've been saying Adeline, so Adeline. That's neat.
I will
Sometimes
say
Aladin.
When I first read it, I pronounced it Adeline, and then I listened to 150 hours of the audiobook pronouncing it Adeline, and it's just been drilled into my brain in the audiobook. But it's like,
the audiobook, it's either way. Okay, yeah.
I mean,
this is what we've talked about before, though. Remember, we've said that Brandon Sanderson said, "However way you read it is the way that it's supposed to be read."
Exactly.
Yeah, so I like that. I think that's amazing. You know, you have these like the Wheel of Time series. There's literally a glossary in the back to tell you how to pronounce these names properly.
Right.
And I like that he's gone the other way. You pronounce it how you want. That's the right way. And I love that. That's just really cool.
Yeah.
It looks like we have another person on.
We have an iPhone.
Want to unmute iPhone 2?
We have an iPhone 2.
iPhone
Ask.
2.
Okay, I don't know if, maybe they don't want to be unmuted.
They might not want to.
Ask to unmute. I've got ask to unmute. I can ask. Or there's
iPhone
more.
2, do you want to join the conversation or?
Chat ask to start a video? No. I don't know. I'm technologically inert here, folks, so.
Here, I'll write a message on the chat.
Hey, sorry guys, I'm working right now. Just figured I'd join the chat and watch.
Cool. All right.
That's cool.
Well,
yeah, for sure.
Nice of you to join us at work.
Who's
That's
this?
cool.
Who is this?
This is iPhone 2.
That's cool.
I like
Whoever it is, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining. That's cool. That's cool.
Thanks for joining, mystery person.
Mystery.
Who are you?
Yeah. Who are you?
That's
a good
talking
great.
about that, in the last episode.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's definitely some Shalon, Alice in Wonderland vibes
Alice
too,
in
right?
Wonderland. I mean, I think that you can't help but spread. I just wish I was more well read in terms of fantasy novel series, so that I could be connecting some of those sprinkles that he's getting from other authors. So that's not a position or strength that I have behind me to offer.
Let's cover the series, and hopefully by the time we get caught up with the novels, we will have enough of a following that the weight of our people of the community will force him to do an interview with us, and then we can ask him all about Peter Pan and Bridge on the River Kwai and all the different things that we've found that might be inspiration.
That'd be awesome.
Never-ending Story, Dune.
Never-ending Story.
We have to do Dune. That is we have neglected
that could be the next one. We've got 3 on the docket then.
Yeah,
we've got casting and cosplay, like the casting episode, the bonus episode where we can talk about who we'd like to have in the role, and then we can do the Halloween one we talked about.
I like this Halloween idea. I think this would be fun. It'd be fun to do another chat like this where see if we can get any participants. You and I, of course, should do it. We should dress up as our favorite characters.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely, we should.
I love getting dressed up, but just for the show?
Yeah, we have to.
That's like months of planning and making the costume and stuff.
Yeah.
If we were making those costumes to go to like Jordan Con, that would be something.
Jordan Con. Remind me, Jordan
Con is, I think, the unofficial Stormlight Archive convention, only because Brandon Sanderson helped finish the Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan.
Okay.
And so I think it's kind of attached, like the fandom has attached itself to this convention. If I'm right, I think I'm right.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right, eh?
Where does this convention
it doesn't have its
place?
own it doesn't have its own convention as of yet.
No,
but it's attached itself to Jordan Con.
It does it on Jordan Con, yeah.
Which is great. I mean, hey, Wheel of Time fans and Stormlight fans have a lot of overlap. That's how I found out about Brandon Sanderson, was finding out that Wheel of Time was going to get finished by this guy Brandon Sanderson. So I went to the bookstore and I bought Elantris, and that's how it started for me. So I mean, there's a lot of overlap here.
I think that we need to start going to cons.
Yeah, well, when we can, right?
Well,
the
only problem with me is I will have to be
blindfolded
I'll have to wear like a hazmat suit or some deep dive.
We can only start considering going to cons once you're all caught up.
Right.
When you're all caught up, Jack and I were talking about that this morning. Maybe this can be the last subject to talk about a little bit here, because we are running a little long. But we talked this morning about how weird it's going to be once Jack is all caught up on the new books, and we are all, as a fandom, caught up on the new books. And that next book that comes out, when we're going to start covering it, we're going to be covering it like
together,
week 2 chapters at a time.
Right.
And the people that listen to us will be like, I'm reading this whole fucking book in like a week or whatever, right? So it's going to be very weird. We're going to be kind of disconnected. We're going to be together for a little bit and then disconnected again. So
that's going to be MUGG comes in and just connects it all together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a great. That's going to be the most interesting thing. I was saying to Sean earlier this morning is that for him and I to be literally turning the pages at the same time together.
Yeah,
that is going to be an exciting experience.
We're going to get to do it sooner than that because I've not read any of the novellas.
And we're doing that after Words of Radiance.
Yeah, I just didn't own them, and I found they weren't very easy to find. And hey, there's Robert. Hey, man, what's up?
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Poole.
Yes.
Very cool. How are you doing, sir?
Mr. Cool Poole. Yeah, that's awesome.
Good. How are y'all?
Doing well.
Are you on break from work?
I just pulled up to my next stop, so I figured I'd give it a few.
Oh,
that's
sweet.
Cool, dude. That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us for a little bit.
Yeah. It's awesome y'all are doing this.
Have you finished the entire series? Have you read this series?
Yes.
Aha. Okay. So you are in a position of authority then. Okay, good. This is good.
So yeah, it'll be really interesting once we're all caught up. But like I was saying, when we cover Edge Dancer, which is coming up, like after we do Words of Radiance, we're going to be able to cover Edge Dancer.
Yes.
And we're going to be covering it together for the first time. I've never read them. I found it kind of difficult to find. I thought about reading the Audible last summer. And then when I realized that we were going to be doing this, this show, I was like, I'm just going to save it. And I wasn't sure when we were going to read it, but we might as well read it in succession to where it comes out. So
Can
so
you?
after
Can
we
I
do
ask
Words of
you?
Radiance, we're going to be doing Edge Dancer together, and we'll be literally flipping the pages together, like you're saying. So
I'm excited for that, Sean. And just before I forget, can you remind me to go down to my local bookstore at the corner and try to get a copy of that? And then, because
for
if I strike out there, then I'll branch out and look.
Can
look
I
elsewhere.
Yeah.
can I make a recommendation?
Yes.
There's a collection of short stories by Brandon Sanderson in one volume called The Arcanum Unbounded, and Edge Dancer is included in that. So you have
The Arcanum Unbounded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I'll write that
that's
down.
the easiest way of finding it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rather than
that's
buying
where-
it separately. Yeah.
The Arcanum Unbounded. Okay,
Were
good
you
to
gonna
know.
say, Mel?
What's that?
Poole was going to say something.
Yeah.
I was just saying that's where I read all the short stories because
Yeah.
I happened upon that. So.
Oh, you grabbed that? Great.
Yeah, there's a couple of short
Be careful not to fall on something else when you're. I guess
Yeah.
when you're reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some Mistborn stories in there that we will cover at some point whenever we, once we get.
I
caught
would
up
really
on
like
the,
to do Mistborn.
We will. That'll be.
a
We're
lot of
gonna
fun.
get there. It's just right now. Let's just focus.
Yeah,
on
I
the
know.
one
We have to
thing.
focus on words.
Had we known that we were going to do this and that it was people were going to like it and stuff, we would have maybe started from the beginning, from like the first book that was published or the first one in the timeline. But I really just wanted to cover. Truthfully, I just really wanted to read. There's Elantris.
Oh, what's
favorites.
that? Elantris.
That's
what's
Elantris. Yeah, it's the first one he
Okay.
came out with.
That's
Is
the
it?
one I-
Okay.
His first published book.
His
Right?
first published
Yeah.
book. Okay, we'll have to
Yeah.
get to that too. I hope
We will. But
is
we're
that-
going to
is
cover
that-
Stormlight first.
Is
so.
Elantris? Is that in the Cosmere? Is that?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Mhm.
And does it reference, or is it affected, or is it at all referenced in the Stormlight archives so far? No.
Can't tell you, but
Okay.
those are words that none of us are allowed to say to you. Sorry.
Fine.
My cute little button. You're not allowed to know this.
Fine.
Well,
I can't.
guess
I
that's,
can't tell you how many times I've come across. I mean, I would love to just be diving in online and reading and absorbing and commenting and sharing, but I can't because of the high risk factor of me reading something. I already know the fourth book title, right? So
Right.
now that we're covering in Words of Radiance, we're covering the
the
Parshendi,
interludes,
the
with
listeners,
yeah,
right?
the rhythm of this and the rhythm of
Right.
that.
So
Yeah,
now,
right.
so now I already know the title, Rhythm of War. So I kind of I've already got dreams happening as to what's coming.
But you know that we've talked about this before, Jack. That this whole thing only works if you don't know anything.
I know.
It doesn't work as well if we're just two friends who've both read the books.
Right. I know.
And
I get
we're just
it.
talking about the books.
It's just
Like
that
maybe
there's
it would
so much
still
out
work
there.
okay. It might still be okay. Like
Yeah.
it might, our hot takes might still be fun and we still make the same jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
But those moments where in the moment you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that. Or, oh my God,
Right.
did you read this part? It was so amazing. Like your innocence makes the whole thing. Without
Yeah.
it, we're left on an island alone, and then the island moves because it's a fucking Reshi island.
Resh. Oh,
We're like, holy shit!
I just that's I can't get over that. That's yeah. Words of Radiance. So right now, Sean and I have recorded episodes. I think to breach.
We've done 11 episodes.
So we're dipping.
So
we're into part
we've
2
covered
now, right?
The first 2 chapters of part 2.
Right.
So the very last, I'll say it again, we said it earlier, the very last chapter we recorded was Adelin's duel called Iron Stance, where he goes into the arena and totally fucking destroys that guy in like 10 seconds.
That
he chokes him out, he grabs his throat and he's like, yield. And you're like, who's this guy?
Yes, I love that
here.
so much.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you think about it, like I have to say, like, he is the Blackthorn's son, right? Like
he is the Blackthorn's son.
Right.
Yeah. But dude, this guy's so much more complicated than that. In a fashion, treats people the way that they should be treated, loves his brother, is also arrogant and kind of an asshole. Like he's super all these dimensions, man. It's really great.
I don't get the asshole vibe from him yet. I am concerned about this friction that is being woven into the story between
what I'm talking about.
Between Kaladin and Adolin. that to me is a little concerning. So I am very concerned about that. I don't.
Well, you would have you done your reading for next episode?
No, I'm not finished. No.
Okay,
No.
well, never mind then.
No,
never mind.
don't. Go
Oh,
there.
well, in it, there's a very cool part that.
Yeah, don't.
Okay. Well, with that, I think maybe we should end the show.
End the show.
Thanks.
Come on, we're just getting going here.
I know we are, but
I was going to make another cup of coffee. Come on.
No, you weren't. You'd have to run away.
I've had this, and I'm eating. And what else am I'm having? Like, got. Is this goat milk?
Eggnog?
No, it's not eggnog.
Eggnog.
What are you drinking, bro?
This is. I think this is oat. I think this is oat milk. Oat milk.
That's really gross what you're doing right now.
I didn't know.
Well,
actually, this is the way. So I have oat milk and I have scotch beside me.
You're not mixing them, are you?
That's a combination.
No, I'm not. But I'm a massive scotch drinker. But I know that. So when I was in Scotland, I know that when I went to these all these. So Jasper, I've been to Scotland. I have not been to England yet.
That's pretty close.
It's on my list. I would have to admit I was terrified when I went to Scotland because I went with my father-in-law, who is. I know. I think he's Scottish, but lived in England. A bit of a combo there, like arms stretched in both directions, sort of thing. But when I was there, we rented a car and we were driving around all over Scotland in this car, and he was driving. He's a 79-year-old man at the time, and he was driving so fast on these narrow fucking roads in Scotland. And I literally, like, I don't normally get too nervous about things like that, speed, whatever. It doesn't really, but the way he was driving, and we'd be whipping around these corners, and I was holding on for dear life. I couldn't believe it. And every time I'd glance up at him, even though he's 79, he would look at me, and he had this face on, like smiling grin from ear to ear. And it was like I was looking at him in boarding school when he was in England or in Scotland as a young man. And I'm just looking at him like, you're this like youthful man, just, hitting the gas and just loving these old roads with these big turns. This one Porsche, oh my God. Like, I thought we were going to die. We're in the Highlands. Oh my God. I was looking up at these, well, I still claim I haven't seen mountains because I don't know. Do the Highlands count as a mountain?
I personally don't think so. I haven't gone to the highest mountains of Scotland, to be fair, and I think they do get quite tall, but yeah,
it didn't seem like I was experiencing a mountain
experience to go like to the Alps, which is those are the mountains I've really seen. And
you've seen the Alps, okay? Yeah, that would be a big deal.
They're a different level, in my opinion.
Right. But zooming around, going from we went from distillery to distillery. Anyways, long story short, I went to all these distilleries to take a look at how they were making the scotch, and it was wonderful and great. And I'm sure, as you can imagine, I was drunk beyond. I drank like I didn't want to live, and it was amazing. And
it was amazing.
And you roll the scotch like they teach you.
Yeah, you don't roll the oat milk though. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to. Don't handle the oat milk like that.
I'm handling my oat milk like I do my scotch.
I know, but there's certain things you can't. You can't transfer shit over. To other things.
I don't care. I can do. I roll my beer now.
It's like when you smoke a cigarette, you can't smoke it like a joint. It looks wrong. You don't do that.
I miss smoking so much. Oh,
me too.
Gosh.
I think about it every day.
Every day. I want to smoke I just fucking smoke.
We're better off not smoking.
I used to drink professionally.
Professionally? The beer league?
No, I just that was what I did. I just drank and smoked
Well, you were in rock and roll, that's why.
Yeah, well, I was rocking.
All right. Well, with that, we should probably end the show.
Well, Jasper, I want to say one shout out to you, Jasper. It's like I was dressed for England today because I'm wearing a Cult T-shirt.
Yeah,
I've got the Cult T-shirt on, and I've got a Led Zeppelin toque on. And if it's not too bold for Mr. Poole, for Robert, can I ask where you're coming from today? Like
Beaumont, Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
Woo-hoo! Right on. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And in honor of wildlife, I wore my Puma shirt. Not the same
Very nice.
as
Yeah.
a cult shirt,
wolf.
but
One with
right.
nature.
Well, thanks, Papino, Pool, and Jasper for joining us. That's really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was a little worried we weren't going to have anyone come on, and now that we have 3, it's great.
Well, sorry. Okay, well, one last thing to Mr. Pool. Any questions for us about the pod or about the things so far that you want to throw our way before on this live chat of the Ugly Mugs?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't have anything. I just wanted to make sure and join it. I saw that invite this morning.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, awesome. That's great, dude.
Didn't have anything prepared, so sorry about that.
No, don't worry about that.
No,
glad
awesome.
to have you. And
I'm glad that anybody came on. Like, I was starting to get nervous that we weren't going to have anybody come on. So, I just want to say thanks, guys, for the support. Thank you for all the other patrons that couldn't make it today. Thank you so much for the support. You know, we keep pushing ourselves to do more and more content and to keep trying to do more and more because of you guys and girls. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do for us. You know, we try to thank you as much as possible, but you really have no idea what it means to us to have people listening and people just interested in what we have to say. It's a really great feeling. I really would suggest you have your own podcast so you have you get that feeling too, because it's pretty fucking awesome. So thank you so much
for doing it.
Yeah, thank you.
Love
our
the
pleasure.
podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
great.
guys.
That's great.
Well, thank you very much for listening, and till next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye.
Peace.